Hi there, I'm Nicole from Puraforce Remedies. I wanted to record a short video for you today answering the number one email and query that I receive on the 1-800 number every single week, and that is, how is it that your children, who are now 3 and 6, have managed to get through school and childcare and through 3 and 6 years worth of life without having to had a visit to a GP, haven't had antibiotics and haven't had any pharmaceutical medicines? Now the answer is 5 things that I'm going to share with you in this video. The first one is a probiotic. I believe that every single person should be on a probiotic. Why is this important? Because our food is full of junk. It's full of numbers, colours, it's full of additives, it's full of processed junk and chemicals that our body cannot break down effectively. Also, our diets are very, very high in salt. They're very high in starches and saturated fat. They're very, very high in sugars and refined sugars and carbohydrates. And so what this does is it creates an imbalance in the gut. So by giving your children, by giving every member of your family a probiotic every single day, you're actually helping to recolonize and stabilize that gut. Really, really important, not only if your children are on antibiotics, to give it after antibiotics, but I believe in terms of preventative and wellness care, that children should be, and adults should be, on probiotics all year round. A few brands that I like if you're here in Australia is I like the Baby Biotics by Bioceuticals. I also like the Lactobac for older kids, and I also like Metagenics. However, you can also just go and get the dairy-free version from the your local pharmacy or health food shop. Number 2, at the first sign of imbalance or disease in your child, and that could be pulling at their ear, starting to teeth, a drippy nose, a cough, a fever, just generally run down and lethargic, or the dark circles underneath the eyes, that is a sign that your child's body is starting to respond to something. It's starting to be having to have a fight. Okay, it's fighting something that's going on, whether it be bacterial, it be viral, it be something that's going around through and been passed recurrently through the other members of your family. That's the time to start reducing the sugar and start reducing the dairy. Now, fruit sugar is fine, but refined sugar, even raw sugar, coconut sugar, all of those sugars, even though they are better alternatives, they do suppress the immune system. So what we want to do is we want to encourage the immune system. We want the immune system to work better. And so by introducing sugar, you're actually suppressing it, and so therefore you're more likely to have a child that ends up on antibiotics. And I see that. I see the kids who come into me on the Monday and the Tuesday, and they're doing really, really well, and they've got the right remedies, and the cold and flu drops and the cough drops are working really well, and then someone will pick them up from school and take them for an ice cream after school on Wednesday afternoon, and by Friday they'll be on antibiotics. Why? Because of the sugar. Okay, the second thing, or the third thing that we're talking about here, but the second thing that suppresses immunity, okay, is dairy. Now, the reason I don't like dairy so much is it actually pulls, it sits in all of these sinuses, that's opportunistic, it creates mucus, okay? So not only does it create a thick throat and coated tongue, it also sits in all the little sinuses, so really, really compromising for a child that has ear infection after ear infection, children that have tiny little sinuses or have recurrent issues with illness that goes through childcare or comes through all the different siblings in the home. Okay, now in the correct environment, that mucus is just sitting there ready to be bacterial infection. Whereas if your child doesn't have mucus in their diet, or they don't have mucus when they're starting to on their way down into a form of illness, whether that be a cold and flu or an infection, then it's not going to sit there, it's not going to be as mucousy, and therefore the bacterial is less likely to take such a strong hold. And again, I see this all the time with kids that are having recurrent antibiotics. We strip the dairy out of the diet, we reduce the sugar, and you see the recurrency of illness change. And that's before even taking on what is my step 3, 4, and 5 in this video. So my secret weapon that I use from all of our family, and but specifically for kids in my clinic and my own 2 children, is my wellness protocol. That is my stress drops, my immune boost, and my digestion aid. This wellness protocol is really what is the bottom line that's responsible for my kids who have not been to a GP, who have not needed antibiotics. Why? Because we're treating all 3 levels. We're treating immunity, and we all understand the importance of a high immunity, particularly for kids who are starting childcare, kids that are going into kindy, starting school for the first time, or even those who are in there who are just getting sick all the time. It feels like every 2 weeks you're fighting something new. The stress drops are really important with helping any kind of emotional imbalance, but helping to keep that nervous system intact. We all know that in times of stress, high pressure or change, that we're more susceptible to become, susceptible to illness. And so keeping that nervous system intact, coping with the changes of school, coping with the sport after school, the busy weekends, the lifestyle that we all lead, that nervous system stays intact because of my stress drops. And finally, my digestion aid. Again, this works really beautifully synergistically with the probiotic to really help to recolonize and stabilize, keep that gut support high, so that then we are not having that recurrency of illness and we're not being as susceptible to things like gastro. But also there's a huge link with the enteric nervous system. I'm sure those of you who are alternative minded, who have been around the traps, have done their reading about the link between the brain-gut connection, and all of the research that is showing that if we keep our gut really healthy, then our brain works better, our overall immunity and general well-being is much higher. So hopefully you found this video of great value and that you can implement this into your family life. So those 5 things again is a probiotic, reducing the sugar and the dairy as soon as your children show any sign of imbalance or starting to get ill. And then my secret weapon, which is my wellness protocol, which is my stress drops, my immune boost, and my digestion aid. Now this protocol is suitable for all those who are over 12 months of age. So get straight onto that as soon as your kids turn 1, particularly if you're putting kids into childcare and they're starting to teethe and mix with other kids and all of the dribble. For those primary school and those teenagers who are starting year 12 exams and who are going through periods of change and growth, really important with lots of extracurricular activities and just the busyness of life. And if you're like me, who's a mum who's trying to do everything, this will really save you bacon. So hopefully this has been a great value to you. Check us out and all of the other videos that I put on our YouTube channel. Subscribe below. Check us out on Facebook, and any additional information you can find about myself or my products is at puraforceremedies.com, or call to speak to me directly on my toll-free number, which is 1800 244 449. Thank you and have a great day.